Hello everyone, I'm Trung with VTV International. This is the English Bulletin, VTV News coming to you live from Hanoi. First, let's get you up to date with the headlines. Party and state leaders welcome Italian Prime Minister to Vietnam. China continues sending more warships into Vietnam's waters. And later, Singaporean takes the lead in foreign investment in Ho Chi Minh City. On to the first update of the hour. Italy's Prime Minister Matteo Renzi began a two-day official visit to Vietnam on Monday at the invitation of Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng. The aim of the visit is to boost cooperation between the two countries, particularly in politics, economics, and trade. A state-level ceremony to welcome the Italian Prime Minister was held in Hanoi on Monday.
This is the first visit by an Italian Prime Minister to Vietnam since the two countries established diplomatic ties in 1973. Following the welcoming ceremony in Hanoi, the two prime ministers held talks and agreed on specific measures to boost the Vietnam-Italy strategic partnership. They agreed to increase exchange of high-level visits and cooperation in 6 major fields, including politics and diplomacy, economics and trade, cultural and tourism, education and training, science and technology, as well as security and defense. They also reached consensus on strengthening the current cooperative mechanism and raised two-way trade turnover to $5 billion. Prime Minister Dũng briefed his Italian counterpart on China's illegal placement of its oil rigs Haiyang Shiyu 981 deep inside Vietnam's exclusive economic zone, seriously threatening peace and stability in the EC. Prime Minister Renzi expressed concern about recent tensions in the EC and hoped that parties concerned will settle the dispute in accordance with international law. A press briefing was held right after the talks to inform reporters on the outcome of the talks between the two sides.
We have concurred that both sides are going to increase the exchanges of high official delegations and cooperation in the fields of politics, diplomacy, economic and trade relations, investment, education, technology, and culture in the spirit of the mutual announcement on the establishment of strategic partnership relationship and the Vietnam-Italy 2013-2014 action plan. On international political cooperation and the South China Sea issue mentioned by the Prime Minister, I stressed again that Italy's opinion is in accordance with what the European Union as well as the C7 have announced at Brussels last month. Besides, Italy committed to investing more intensively in 2014. There will be a mixed economic committee where we will discuss the issues you mentioned. Additionally, I affirm that the Italian enterprises will invest more in and trade more with Vietnam.
Highly value Italy's effort in keeping peace and stability in the region and in the world. Prime Minister Nguyễn Tấn Dũng called on Italy to continue expressing their viewpoint on the EC issues on the basis of international law.
Continuing his official visit to Vietnam, Italian Prime Minister Matteo Renzi was received by Party General Secretary Nguyễn Phú Trọng and State President Trương Tấn Sang on Monday in Hanoi. At the talks, Vietnamese leaders proposed that both sides maintain high-level exchange visits and increase cooperation primarily in infrastructure, energy, and manufacturing industry. The Vietnamese leaders affirmed that Vietnam will create the best possible conditions for Italian companies to do long-term business in the country. Prime Minister Renzi spoke highly of Vietnam's đổi mới renewal achievements and said Italy wants to foster the strategic partnership with Vietnam. He said Italy is ready to serve as a bridge linking Vietnam and the EU. Moving on now to other news, ASEAN and its direct dialogue partner countries continue to express deep concern for the ongoing tensions in the East Sea and called for parties involved in the dispute to resolve matters peacefully. ASEAN Regional Forum senior security officials expressed their opinions at the meeting held on Monday in Yangon, Myanmar, with the participation of 27 ARF member countries, including 10 ASEAN countries, their dialogue partner countries, and observers.
Vietnam Deputy Minister of Foreign Affairs Phạm Quang Vinh stated clearly that from May 1st to date, China have illegally placed an oil rig and sent in a large number of ships, several of which are warshipped into Vietnamese seas. The Chinese continuously provoke reactions from the Vietnamese by deliberately ramming or firing water cannons. This behavior clearly violated international laws, especially the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea, as well as going against the Declaration on the Conduct of Parties in the East Seas, or DOC, creating tension and harm to regional peace and stability and the East Sea maritime activities. Vietnam has continued to request that China immediately remove the Haiyan CO 981 drilling rig and Chinese ships from the Vietnamese waters. Vinh then reminded the ASEAN Foreign Affairs Ministers' announcement on May 10th and called for action to turn the words into reality.
Today, we affirm that our policies are to maintain peaceful mechanism in order to achieve maritime security, and at the same time, we will stand firm in the protection of our sovereignty.
After the Vietnamese representatives' address, all countries afterwards expressed deep concern about ever-intensifying incidents at the East Sea, protested against unilateral Chinese moves, and requested the concerned party to settle in peace and in accordance with international laws.
We are very much aware that there are a number of developments which are worrying. We are watching certain disputes related to territorial issues, and we would like very much to see the way in which ASEAN countries, together with other major countries in the region, may find a way to address these issues.
10 countries include 4 claimant states. Claimant states have different position on this issue, but as a group, all the members look for a common position.
Of the 10 ASEAN countries, 4 countries have sovereignties in the South China Sea. As a community, every ASEAN country agreed to resolve the issues in a peaceful manner. This matter is as important to China, ASEAN's dialogue partner, as it is to ASEAN countries.
And here are some of the latest updates on the current situation in the East Sea. On Monday, June 9th, China continued flouting international law by sending 2 more military ships to the area around rig Haiyan CO 981 that is illegally placed in Vietnam's waters. According to VTV reporters on board the Vietnam Coast Guard ship number 8003 at the site, Chinese warships patrolling the site during the day increased to 6, with 2 operating in the east, 2 in the west, and the others taking defensive positions to the south of the rig. At the same time, about 36 Coast Guard vessels, 21 cargo ships and tugboats, and 44 fishing vessels were also detected, together with 1 Y-8 recon aircraft flying around 500 meters above the rig. The Chinese fleet formed groups and organized circles around the rig to prevent Vietnamese law enforcement vessels from approaching, keeping them about 10 nautical miles from the rig. They also aggressively rammed and fired water cannons at Vietnamese Coast Guard and fishing vessels. However, Vietnamese law enforcement authorities resolutely maintained their intensive activities close to the rig to demand China to stop their illegal actions and remove the oil rig immediately from Vietnam's waters. Once again, China has ratcheted up the heat in the East Sea prior to the Shangri-La dialogue. Since 2011, before every Shangri-La dialogue, China has always carried out unilateral actions to assert its claims in the East Sea. The following story gives us a quick overview.
May the 26, 2011, 10 days before the 2011 Shangri-La dialogue, 3 Chinese Coast Guard ships penetrated deeply into Vietnam's continental shelf, an exclusive economic zone, to cut Petro-Vietnam's Binh Minh No. 2 ship's cable. The spot where the 3 Chinese Coast Guard ships vandalized the Binh Minh No. 2 equipment is only 120 nautical miles from Đại Lãnh Horn, Phú Yên. In April 2012, the situation was even more intense before the 2012 Shangri-La Dialogue threat hold, when in April 2012, China defaced the Scarborough or Huangyan Shoal, which belongs to the Philippines at the moment. China has also intensified its intervention in the Scarborough Shoal with the sending in of nearly 100 vessels. On March the 20th, 2013, 3 months prior to the 2013 Shangri-La talks, Vietnam's Quảng Ngãi province ship QNG 96382TS, while fishing peacefully near the Vietnam Paracel archipelago, was chased and shot at by the Chinese, which set the Vietnamese vessel's cabin ablaze. On May the 1st, 2014, most recently, just a month before Shangri-La 2014, China lawlessly installed the Haiyang Shiyou 981 deep-water drilling rig within Vietnam continental shelf and exclusive economic zone, just 120 nautical miles from Quảng Ngãi province, Lý Sơn Island is located. While Vietnamese authorities are proactively taking actions to regain the country's sovereignty and jurisdiction, on the 9th of May the 26th, Vietnamese fishing vessel DNA 90152 from Da Nang province was rammed and sunk by Chinese fishing vessel 11209. China's provocations during the last 4 years seem to have escalated and seem intent on creating further discord in the EC.
Coming up in the latter half of our bulletin, Singapore takes the lead in foreign direct investment into Ho Chi Minh City. And later this week's Vietnam in Close-Up report takes a look at the efforts to improve community health for Silla ethnic people. Stay tuned, VTV News will be right back after a short break.
Exotic Vietnam is an intriguing blend of many charms. This land is where all manner of stunning landscapes await like a visual feast, rivaled only by the beauty of its people and their abundantly rich tradition and culture. Here is where you can relive the past in richest color or live it up in the bright lights of the big city. With so much more to offer, Vietnam is simply unforgettable.
And welcome back to VTV News, live from Hanoi. Singaporean companies in Ho Chi Minh City account for the highest amount of foreign investment, with 700 projects worth over $7 billion, equal to 30% of FDI poured into the city. In addition, Ho Chi Minh City regularly hosts economic activities to boost trade between the two countries, proving it to be a potential long-term investment destination for foreign businesses.
For the Singaporean New Toyo aluminum paper packaging company, although its annual growth rate only ranges from 5 to 8%, the company has invested over $8 million to build 3 factories in Ho Chi Minh City area. In the near future, the company plans on improving the working environment for its employees, as well as market researching to increase its investment.
Ho Chi Minh City is a financial hub, and the city government has many policies to solve our problems. In addition, there's a young and well-educated workforce, which is a great resource to help businesses during a period of increasing globalization.
In the first 5 months of 2014, Singapore already invested in 9 new projects worth $200 million, accounting for 31% of FDI into Ho Chi Minh City and making Singapore the leading investor into the city.
Well, I chose Vietnam because obviously it's a land of opportunities for many years now. It's a country that is developing. There are many strong factors about Vietnam which encourages people who want to invest.
Yeah, Ho Chi Minh City is actually the financial hub of Vietnam. In fact, for CapitaLand, our headquarters is in Ho Chi Minh City. Yeah, based on the business activity, you can see a lot of foreign companies actually they have present in Ho Chi Minh. So for us as a real estate company, we like this type of markets. There are a lot of foreign buyers and also local buyers.
Ho Chi Minh City also regularly hosts business forums to boost trade, such as recent Vietnam-Singapore Business Forum, to connect investors from the two countries and increase investment opportunities for both Vietnam and Singapore.
Singapore is the economic hub in the region and home to regional offices for major global corporations. Trade between Vietnam and Singapore will also bridge the gap between Vietnamese businesses and many international corporations.
With a stable economy and promising economic conditions, Ho Chi Minh City is believed to be an attractive destination for FDI companies.
Vietnam Television on Sunday produced a special TV program on the motherland seen from the sea, with live coverage from Da Nang City and Lý Sơn Island. By sharing stories of people who are dedicating their lives to protecting Vietnamese seas and islands, the program sent out a message of peace and resilience to audiences across the country and around the world.
Real stories, as captured through the lens or retold by those whose lives are bound to the sea, were shared throughout the show. The program also showcased evidence of Vietnam's sovereignty over the Paracel and Spratly Islands. In the Museum of Da Nang City, there were proof of Vietnamese people living in the Paracel Islands dating back as early as the 17th century. Historical documents from the Nguyen and other dynasties were shown that Vietnamese people have protected peace of the Paracel Islands for several centuries.
In 1973, I was working as a nurse in the islands. During a big storm that year, I remember that my team rescued a fisherman family from China who were lost in the storm. We shared food and took care of them for several days until they were sent back to China.
This heartfelt story of the people who used to live in Hoàng Sa Island is a complete contrast to the current tension in the East Sea. Vietnamese people are determined and will do the utmost to protecting the nation's sovereignty rights when China illegally placed an oil rig in Vietnam's exclusive economic zone and continental shelf over a month ago. Professor Carl Thayer, a well-respected expert on Southeast Asia region, shared the same feelings when he joined the TV program on Sunday.
Throughout this show, from one generation during the French colonization to this modern time, I can feel the patriotism, and I'm very moved by that, especially by the youth. Vietnam is a country which patriotism has a long tradition. Vietnam must stay strong and firm in a long time and rally international community on its sovereignty matter, and we can only hope that China will respond in a peaceful manner and by law.
The program begins and ends with songs of peace performed by children. The love of peace is the thread that connects all stories in the program. It is also the bond that unites Vietnamese people in their missions to protect the national sovereignty.
Local artists gathered at a meeting in Ho Chi Minh City on Monday to express their patriotism, their love for peace, and support for the soldiers who are performing their duties on the Spratly and Paracel Islands. At the event, organizers show documentaries on the lives of the soldiers on the Spratly and Paracel Islands in the past. On the occasion, local artists raised a charity fund to support Vietnamese soldiers at sea. Local artists seized this chance to send a strong message against China's illegally placing oil rig that still stand in Vietnamese waters. The Silla ethnic people is one of the 5 smallest ethnic groups in Vietnam with a population of just over 800. They are Tibeto-Burman people who migrated from Laos and are currently residing in Vietnam's mountainous northwest region. Despite being a small ethnic group, the living conditions of the Silla people have changed dramatically in recent years, thanks to the government's health development policies. Let's take a close look.
Selhai is a small village of Silla people in Lai Châu with 50 households. For the past 30 years, Silla people have lived on hunting and collecting vegetables, raising cattle and poultry, and planting rice, but have remained isolated from other people due to the Da River. This has caused difficulties for them to get access to health care, but this is now a thing of the past. This small baby girl Po Tu Yen was born in Muang Tae Hospital, unlike her parents who were born by the mill. We gave birth and cut the umbilical cord at home. Now we go to hospital. Healthcare is different now. Thanks to the newly built bridge in 2008, Silla people know more about reproductive healthcare. Traditionally, Silla people often married among people of the same bloodline. Therefore, their children are weaker.
There were few Silla people, and we didn't socialize with other ethnic groups. We couldn't speak the language, so we tended to marry people of the same bloodline. Our children were weak. Many of them died young.
Now isolation is a thing of the past. About 30% of young Silla here are married to those of other groups. Besides increased reproductive health awareness, people have easier access to medical facilities. Gan Ho Commune Medical Station receives hundreds of patients a day. This is the first medical station local people come to for healthcare. Most of the patients are children and pregnant women. In 2013, 90% of Silla children were vaccinated, and about 50% of Silla pregnant women had regular checkups during their pregnancy.
More people come for examination. More Silla people visited us on average this year than other ethnic groups in the commune.
As this is the medical station in a mountainous area, another important mission is to change the local people's attitude towards healthcare.
The villages used to be very dirty. Now villagers are more aware of keeping their villages clean. They still raise cattle, but in a different way from the past, so it's much cleaner. In the past, we could get only a third or a quarter of the villagers to come for a meeting. The number is now up to 90 to 95%.
According to Muang Tae district authorities, Silla people make up only 0.14% of the district population. Therefore, they are allowed to have 3 children to increase their numbers.
As there are few Silla people, they are encouraged to have 3 children. We prioritize pregnant women. Those who have 3 children still get the same maternity allowance they were given for their first and second children. They can have free regular checkups and access to health care during and after birth as well.
Po Changa is an influential person of the village. He still joins activity educating local people on healthcare and cultural preservation. As some of them cannot speak Vietnamese, so all forms of educations are used.
It's hard to educate them by books, but songs are good. For example, I write lyrics about family planning and match them with traditional melodies of our group. I tell them that if they have too many children, they may not have enough food, and when they are sick, they may not have enough money for their treatment. We tell them by singing, so they understand the issues better. We include education in these activities. We see that it's more effective that the educators are Silla people. Then the education is more fun and attracts more people because it includes some songs and performances.
Thanks to the bridge connecting 2 sides of Da River, young Silla people have more choices for their future, and the recent improvements on their health conditions will further develop their living standards in the coming time.
Up next, let's take a quick look at a few online articles about Vietnam. The final project, 636 kilo class diesel-electric submarine for the Vietnamese Navy under a 2009 contract, was laid down on Wednesday at Admiralty Shipyards in St. Petersburg, an article on NavyRecognition.com reported. Under the $2 billion contract, 2 submarines have already been delivered to Vietnam. The third is undergoing sea trials, a fourth was floated out in late March, and the fifth and sixth are now under construction. The third submarine will be transferred this year, and the remaining 3 in the period between 2015 and 2016. Luxury resort developer and operator 115 Marina Club of Singapore this week signed a memorandum of understanding to build Vietnam's latest integrated marina resort. An article on PropertyReport.com says the waterfront resort, which is being developed in response to the increasingly popular boating and yachting scene in the region, will be the company's first overseas marina project. The company is planning to build another resort in Ho Chi Minh City. A first-ever national wildlife park will be constructed in central Vietnam and be completed in a decade, according to information released last week by local authorities. Giàn News went on to say that the park, covering a total area of 1155 hectares in Ninh Bình province, will help protect the region's wildlife and preserve rare animals. The $344 million park is designed to accommodate around 3,000 wild animals of 250 species and welcome about 5 million visitors while providing jobs for nearly 2,500 local residents once it is put into operation in 2025. And that's also the last piece of news we have for you in this hour. Before saying goodbye, let's take a quick look at today's weather forecast. This is the end of our bulletin for this hour. Simply visit our website at vtv4.vn to re-watch any of our programs online. Thank you very much for watching, and goodbye for now from Hanoi.